live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. You got the right to live. So go and live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. Let's start the party. Start the party. Live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. You got the right to live. So go and live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. Let's start the party. Start the party. Live it up.
I'm dangerous like tightrope. No talking, not that of a maestro. More like that lizard from Geico. When I lick, you go psycho. Downtown, I'm more famous than Michael. My game, I gave it to Tycho. Gene Simmons up my time. Whoa, got mind control. Damn control. Up to your spine and back down to your toes. Melt you, little mama, like pile of mode. Hot like the summer, goodbye.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames. Happy Monday. It is the beginning of the week. Got a lot of cool stuff to cover, including Amanda Bynes' short-lived engagement. We'll go ahead and talk a little bit about that in a little bit. In sports, Brian Ortega slaps the friend of his future opponent, Chan Sung Jung, at UFC 248. We'll dive into that one a little bit. And Call of Duty's Battle Royale is coming. We'll go ahead and give you a little bit more on what's going to be included in that new DLC that comes out tomorrow. Plus, I have special guest, Life Coach, romance matchmaker, Miss Aviva Reimer is going to be on the show. Going to talk a little bit about her book and much, much more in the ways of romance. But first, here is Obek featuring Freedom, Sweat, right here on the Xander Effect.
We gon' party. Whoa, I got your chick in my party. You know we puffin' on this morning. Whoa, now niggas hatin' and I'm sorry. We be in LA, killing out. We be in New York, killing out. We be in Chi-Town,
this meet up, I'ma roll this weed up. We gon' make the people sweat. I'ma move this party, I'm the grand finale. We gon' make the people sweat, sweat, sweat. I'ma pour this liquor, let in all the strippers. We gon' make the people sweat. We be up in B.I.V. We gon' do it B.I.G. We gon' make the people sweat.
Your mind is moving, it's making mine get harder. Can't do nothing else but sweat. What you do it to me, wanna make me naughty. Anybody's touching, gonna make us sweat.
Slip in, slowly, dipping lowly, sipping OE with a gold straw, that's OG. This club is nosy, clocking my every move. There goes that girl named Zoe, she got me in this groove. So please stop fronting. In the club we stunting, and we doing something. And y'all say yeah, nothing.
we gon' party. Whoa, I got your chick in my party. You know we puffin' on this morning. Whoa, now niggas hatin' and I'm sorry. Killing out. We be in LA, killing out. We be in New York, killing out. We be in Chi-Town, killing out. We be in Miami, killing out.
was Obek featuring Freedom in the remix of Sweat. In entertainment news, Hollywood is mourning today. Actor Max von Sydow has passed away at the age of 90. Max von Sydow was he did a lot of movies, a lot of really cool movies over the years. He's was in more than 100 films and TV series, and he's more famously known for his roles in The Exorcist, Hannah and Her Sisters, Minority Report, and Shutter Island. He did 11 films with director Ingmar Bergman, including the movie called The Seventh Seal. He was nominated for 2 Oscars in his career, including Best Supporting Actor for being in the 2011's Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. He also voiced a character on The Simpsons in 2014 and appeared in 3 episodes of Game of Thrones. I mostly remember Max von Sydow because of his role in Minority Report. He played the guy that framed Tom Cruise, or was trying to frame Tom Cruise's character in the movie. The guy that he kind of saw looked like it was a father figure to Tom Cruise's character in the movie. Did an amazing job with that. So, very sad day in the world of Hollywood. Rest in peace, Max von Sydow. In other entertainment news, Pete Davidson seems to be having issues with SNL after criticizing the late night series. And if any of you guys watched SNL this past weekend, you'll notice that Pete Davidson wasn't on it. It could have a lot to do with the way he's criticizing the show. He had a sit down with Charlemagne the God, and he said, quote, "I personally think I should be done with that show because they make fun of me on it." And I think that's it, like him saying that has prompted many to believe that maybe possibly they're not too happy with what he said, and because they think that maybe he's not too happy with the way his role is being portrayed on the show. He said also, quote, "I'm literally painted out to be this big dumb idiot." Now, here's the thing about that. Pete Davidson has been engulfed in a lot of weird things that he's been doing throughout his personal life and his career. It seems that the 26-year-old, in my opinion, is getting a little too arrogant for his own good, and that might be causing the problem, because we're only hearing one side of the story. Yes, they could be cutthroat, but at the same time, a few months ago, he actually left in the middle of a comedy set because people weren't listening to what he was telling them to do. This is somewhere in New Jersey. Reports of that happened. And it just seems to me that he's becoming a little too arrogant for his own good. And so therefore, it seems that, he's becoming a little bit of a diva, in my opinion, because of his attitude lately. And I think that might be what is reflecting on SNL. I mean, SNL's been very supportive towards him. I mean, he even had a lot of good things to say about Lorne Michaels, the creator of SNL, calling him a father figure. So, I mean, he doesn't have any ill will towards him. He just has ill will towards, I guess, the writers of it. And it just seems that maybe it is time for SNL and him to part ways, because he's not happy. And it doesn't seem that they're going to be changing their ways, especially after this. I don't think writers are going to be too happy with what he had to say about them. And things might end up going from bad to worse for the comedian slash actor. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. In other news, Amanda Bynes and her fiance split only 3 weeks after her and him announced their engagement. And it just, basically her fiance, Paul Michael, confirmed it with In Touch, saying that yes, we did, and quote, saying, "I love her though. She's my best friend." And it's one of those things where, Amanda Bynes, and I said this before, that she's just getting off of a lot of problems with addiction, a lot of mental health issues that she's going through. And she said she met this guy in one of her addiction groups, and as I said before, it just seemed to me that it was a very rushed engagement, and it seemed more like a codependency engagement, an engagement of convenience. And looks like I might have been right, because they ended it only after 3 weeks. Not to mention the fact of the matter that there was also pressure from her parents, that have conservatorship over her, and that might have had something to do with her breaking off the engagement, with them both parting amicably and breaking off the engagement, because her family they weren't approving of the engagement with good reason. Obviously, they saw what I'm sure many people like myself saw, and that this was just a marriage of convenience, a marriage of codependency. So that might have had a lot to do with it. Who knows what exactly happened and why they decided to split, but the point is they split, and it is what it is. So she might have had better luck if she followed the advice of my guest that's coming up next here. I had an interview with Matchmaker, millionaire matchmaker, life coach, love coach, Aviva Reimer, and she had a lot of great advice for many people that are searching for a way to make themselves feel better in romance, in life, in general. So make sure you stay tuned for that interview coming up next. But first, here is Don't Wanna Work by Franklin Mullen right here on the Xander Effect.
Down the country road, guitar in my hand. I'm always thinking to myself, will I be a famous man? Well, I'm tired of scraping for a living, I don't like it anymore. When my paycheck grosses 48 and I take home 24. You and I, we work all day, turn our daily bread. When you come home, you watch TV and then you're off to bed. You toss and turn all night long and wake up on the floor. And your wife says, what's the matter, hon? You say, don't want to work no more. No, I don't want to work anymore. I don't like going to work at 6 and coming home at 4. No, I don't want to work anymore. When my paycheck grosses 48 and I take home 24. I don't like going to work at 6 and coming home at 4. No, I don't want to work anymore. When my paycheck grosses 48 and I take home 24.
So on the Xander Effect, I have life coach, romance coach, matchmaker Aviva Reimer on here. How you doing, Aviva?
I'm fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. So I got a chance to go ahead and take a look at what you do, and you've actually done a lot of things. You've been on Millionaire Matchmaker. You've been, you've had a lot of press about you. But before we get into what you do, I'd like to, go ahead and go back a little bit as to how you got started in getting in the romance business. Simply because you came from your parents migrated from communist Latvia back in 1978, and that must have been very, very traumatic, very hectic for you.
A little bit.
I can imagine.
Everything feels like a bit of a dream now. It's so long ago. I was just a little girl. I was like 7.5 or 7 years old, and it was like watching a movie when you think back to it now. We had to take trains, planes. Had to try to, smuggle a little bit of this and that, like gold back in the day into the country. Of course, like jewelry. So my grandparents put all the stuff on me. I saw people, tearing apart our suitcases just before our train left as a kid. So, I was feeling some of my, parents and grandparents' stress as well. I remember falling asleep listening to the train move through the country. It's that sort of sound, like repetitive sound that put me to sleep, and watching all the scenery. Oh yeah, it was definitely an adventure for a 7-year-old.
Wow. I mean, how, the thing is that going through all that, it's amazing that you were able to find, the beautiful things about life, especially going through all that. I mean, it's incredible at 7 years old, having to, have gone through that to be able to see life the way you look at it now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's like night and day back then and what's happening in the world now.
So how did you wind up becoming a romance matchmaker and, dealing with matters of the heart?
Well, I've been through my own ups and downs, and I have my own story. I had to ask myself the hard questions when certain things weren't falling into place for me, and slowly through all my careers, I just evolved. And in 2011, I threw a big event to launch my dinner mixers. And of course, there's a little bit of a backstory there. I just don't know how much time we have.
Oh, we have plenty. Feel free.
Well, I come from a background of beauty and health and fitness. So I've owned a hair salon. I used to do a lot of makeovers. And I was heavily into fitness. So I would help people lose the weight and change their bodies. And, and looks came into play, hairstyles and makeup applications. I used to do wedding parties. I used to style for magazines. And I would take a person, dress them all up, make them all beautiful, and then, send them out into the world. And they loved every minute of that process. And they evolved and they became more confident. And and that was like a drug for me. I loved it. Mm-hmm. I love that drug.
Of course.
the one where I see people smiling and feeling better about themselves, through everything, because I made that impact on them. So, after that, I started my career in coaching, and then one day when I moved to Toronto, because I grew up in Vancouver and I wanted to move my business here because there's just a lot more going on in Toronto than in Vancouver. Vancouver is a good retirement city. Mm-hmm. So I moved here and I built my fitness studio, and I just started to do, what I love to do here. And then I decided it was time for me to launch the dinner mixers. And at that event, I had a couple of gentlemen ask me if I would help them on a personal level when it came to relationships. They wanted to meet somebody, ironically, like me, because I came with a really positive mindset. I know what the right things to do are. I know how to figure things out, and this is how I guide people as well. And I had the recipe, and they wanted that recipe. So I figured, well, if I'm already working with people, and I'm helping them find their confidence and helping them organize their life, and they're growing as a human being, and they're evolving to a place that they've never seen before, where they're much happier, much more confident, looking fantastic, in their bodies. And they have a different set of mindset now, and a different set of expectations now. They see the world through a new set of eyes now. So obviously, the type of people that they would be dating now are also different than what they would used to be dating, right?
True.
So now they want to date somebody on a whole different level. So I figured, that's kind of like the last piece of the puzzle for me. Why not put them together with somebody, because I already had the network, that has the same mindset and is on the same path.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. No, and that's very true. And my wonderment is, does it always have to be, seeing as you've talked with so many people in the romance department, does it always have to be about a physical attraction first, or is it a mental attraction? I mean, how do you usually match everybody? How does that work?
Okay, loaded question right there. So you can be attracted to somebody mentally, emotionally, or physically, or all of the above. Sometimes you could be attracted to somebody because of their, mindset and their intelligence and mentally, where they come from or what they've experienced and how they carry themselves, and, through watching their demeanor and interacting with them. And, you can be attracted to their brains, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have an emotional attraction or connection, I would rather call it, where you just feel like you're connected to this person. You don't quite understand why, but you're feeling something, and you feel very close to them, and it's like a draw. It's a very scary thing to experience sometimes, because it pulls you in a direction without even potentially knowing a lot about the person. And of course, there's the physical attraction as well. So, which a lot of us really get caught up in most of the time, and we don't really pay attention to what's on the back end.
True. Very true. Yep.
Right. So, yeah, and we also get really caught up in that. So it's possible to meet somebody as friends, and, one day just the light switch goes on. It could be as simple as them saying something, the way they say it, and the way they executed it, the way they looked at you when they said it, and the switch goes on. It's so possible. Sometimes people become more attracted as they get to know the person. With the same reference, you can be so physically attracted to somebody that it's just like, wow, out of control. And then it fizzles out into absolutely nothing, because there's nothing to sustain that attraction or seal the deal, as I call it. So you're really out there, and you have to make sure that there's that balance. Just like in life, you have to have that balance.
That's true. There's always balance to everything. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've been single for a long time, and it's a tough one for me, especially for a single guy. I mean, every time it's funny, because I was just joking about this with a buddy of mine, and it's like, yeah, it's tough, because every woman I'm attracted to, they're not, every woman I want doesn't want me back, or they go ahead and they make me the friend, put me in the friend zone, and I cannot get out of that damn place. I always joke about it. I was like, dude, I'm the president of the friend zone. Are you kidding me? That's me, So it's one of those things where I just stopped. Like, I just stopped altogether, and I realized one day that, what, I'm just putting too much emphasis on this, and I'm just going to go with the flow, and that's how I've been looking at my dating life for the longest time. I just decided just to stop and just to go with the flow. And, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, well, you know what? Another few years of being single doesn't really matter to me.
That's some good self help there. It's good advice to yourself. It depends. Sometimes we just get frustrated and say, okay, you know what, the hell with it. Whatever happens, happens. And, it's not a bad mindset to have that. Sometimes we hold on to things so tight that just doesn't come to us. And as soon as we let it go, it shows up on our doorstep. So that happens a lot. Yes. And it's just, that's good advice.
It's just, it's actually, the other thing too that I've noticed, and it's funny because when I decided to go into this mindset, I noticed that it seems to like attract more women to talk to me and things like that. Cause I'm not there with any hidden agenda. I've gone out to bars and clubs and stuff like that with friends of mine. And, I'm not, obviously I'll never mention any names, but I had an experience with when somebody I knew that we would go out and we went out and he was like on the prowl. Like he was on the prowl. Every time he went out, it was always to find a woman to spend the night with every single time. And it was like, dude, are you serious? You don't want to just go out just to have fun? You want to go out on a mission? I mean, come on. That's really, I don't know. That's not my style. It never was actually. And
if this was, not to interrupt you, I'm so sorry. If this was another kind of show, I could probably tell you why he does that. But let's keep going.
Well, I mean, this is the show we make it. That's the way I always like to talk about the Xander Effect. It's like it's the show that we make it. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, it was funny because in that situation, it just seemed it seemed that he was trying to talk to one girl, and then I saw him stop talking to her and talk to one of her friends in the group of people, and then I started talking to her. And her and we got along very well. She gave me her phone number, whatever, and it was cool and everything. He got upset with me and said, why are you hating? Why are you blocking? I was like, dude, what are you talking about? You're talking to that other girl. What do you want? All of them for yourself to talk to you only? I mean, I'm not going to be just standing there, looking like a schlub, just sitting there. I like to interact with people. I like to talk with them. That's my personality. That's just who I am. He got upset over that. And I'm just like, wow, it's crazy how some people react to, that kind of situation.
Yeah, there's something else that's driving his behavior like that. It has nothing to do with necessarily just getting to know a girl or conquering. It's much more deep rooted than that. He's got something to prove to himself. That's what's going on.
It's possible. You know what? I can actually agree with that because he had a failed marriage. He had a failed marriage where his wife ended up leaving him for another man. And that could have a lot to do with it.
Absolutely. And it will even go back further than that, to his upbringing and things that it might have taken that could have impacted his self-worth. And this is his way of, acting out in order to prove that, he's worthy by the amount of women that do that. And it's he's got to talk to somebody. That's all. He needs a different approach. He needs to understand why he does what he does first.
Would you be able to take on an individual like this and would you be able to coach a person like this?
Absolutely.
What kind of technique would you use on a person like this?
Well, I would have to see exactly what's going on first. I would just have to, and it's conversations, and I would need to know what, where he comes from, what he's been through, what he's experienced, and then I could break it down for him to understand why he, behaves or reacts the way that he does. And then I would show him some solutions as to how to nip it in the butt, so to speak.
Okay.
Time that it comes up, I would give him some solutions to making a change right there on the spot. And I would also try to give him strategic advice to recognize certain things and as they're happening, right? Because a lot of us, we're not that self-aware. So I would try to help him become more self-aware and then show him how he needs to change the thought process and understand things a little bit differently. but that's a lot of, therapy and coaching. Let's just call it coaching. Sometimes people don't want to, say the word therapy because it makes them feel like there's something wrong with them.
True, very true.
Let's just say coaching. Absolutely. Yeah, he's probably been really, really hurt, and he needs to deal with that. He needs to have a different perspective on that.
Interesting. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, because it was just, we actually stopped being friends because of another situation that happened about 3 weeks later. And he was like, I don't want to hang out with you no more. And this and I was like, fine by me, bud. You're not going to hurt me any. I mean, you keep on going on doing what you got to do. And, I'll just keep on doing me. I'm the type of person that you're not going to tell me how to act. I'm not going to be rude to people just because you're trying to talk to them. If they talk to me, I'm not going to sit there and not answer. That's just me. That's just being rude. And, if people gravitate to me, so be it. I'm not going to apologize for that, because I like talking to people. I like, being able to interact with people, finding out their
You're intellectual. You're an intellectual.
I appreciate the compliment. I mean, I don't know if I am, but I mean, it's one of those things where I'm not the type of person that is going to just look for that has a hidden agenda to all my actions. Like, right. That's not going to be me. I want to be as transparent as possible to the person I'm speaking with, whether it be, a woman I'm interested in or a business partner that I want to go ahead and do a business venture with. It just goes in all facets of life. You have to be transparent.
Yeah, that's your character. And that's to be appreciated, because, it'll get you what you want when you're transparent and vulnerable with people and yourself, and you speak openly and you share openly, and you don't have any kind of hidden agendas, and you're just doing you. And the right people will see that. The wrong people will zoom by, but the right people will notice. And, that's how you attract the right person to you.
Here's hoping for that. Besides that, I want to talk a little bit more about Becoming the Total Package, the book that you wrote. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So Becoming the Total Package is about making the right decisions and choosing certain things in your life that are going to impact you positively. Sometimes, some of the most hardest decisions are the right decisions are the hardest, is what I mean to say. Mm-hmm. So it has nothing to do, Becoming the Total Package has nothing to do with being superficial about your looks at all. Mm-hmm. It's having integrity. It's having empathy. It's respecting other people's feelings, and having the right kind of communication, and knowing what the right thing to do is. There's so many of us that just react to things, and we act out, and we do things that we later on regret, even as small as, not calling somebody or ghosting somebody or whatever it may be that makes you feel like crap a little bit, mm-hmm. down the road, when you have regrets and you say, I wish I didn't do that. So, it's being self-aware and making the right decisions and organizing your life so that you only have positive outcomes and which brings a happier life,
True.
Better decisions. You finish your projects, you organize your home, you strategically do everything in order to create the kind of life that you want. And then you control anything and everything that comes in. So if you meet somebody new and they're impacting you negatively, you got to say bye-bye.
Of course.
If you meet somebody incredible and they're a fabulous person and they bring something to your life that you enjoy sharing with them, hallelujah, that's fantastic. You keep that person in your life. You minimize, the nonsense, and you get rid of the nonsense and people who are, they try to put you down, or, it's like first we go through decluttering your home, then we go through decluttering your friends. and you create this incredible world for yourself. And that's when things really start to move for you in a really good direction.
Yeah, of course, because you're calling in positive energy into your world. And I completely agree with that because when I started this venture of my show, I made a decision. When I first started, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this show. But before I get started, I need to eliminate as many negative people out of my life as possible. And I decided to pretty much minimize my communication with a lot of friends of mine. One of them I actually ended a friendship with because he was becoming, well, he has a lot of emotional issues. And I had to end my friendship with him because of that. Actually, he ended it, and I just agreed with it. I'm like, okay, well, if you want to go ahead and act this way, that's up to you. You know, I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and stop you. But at the same time, it was also a good thing because I'm trying to stay focused and stay positive on my show and the things that I'm doing in my life. I don't need negativity. I don't need negative people in my life that are going to, if they have a toxic atmosphere around them, I don't want that toxicity to come and invade my space. That's,
Exactly.
you know, it's different.
That attitude right there. It's exactly what you need to do with, you know, in every aspect of your life. Yeah, absolutely. So anything toxic, it's got to go. You know, sometimes you might have people around you that are kind of fun to be with maybe for a couple of hours. You can keep them around for that. But, you know, the real people, the people that make a difference in your life, they're the ones that really, in a positive way, those are the ones that you want to keep around. And becoming the total package is somebody who, you know, is got their stuff together. They got their ducks lined up in a row, and they've done the work to create that kind of life for themselves. And that's what the total package is, you know.
And that's the truth, because at the end of the day, you know, you want to have good things around you. And, you know, many people are like, oh, well, why does this happen to me? Because you create it. You create your own world. You're the architect of your own destiny at the end of the day. And there's not, the only person that's going to succeed is you. I love watching the Rocky movies and everything. There's one specific part in that movie where he looks at the fighter he's training. It was in the movie Creed, and he's like he looks at the fighter's looking into a mirror, and he's like, that's your own worst enemy right there, yourself. You know, that's the only person you're going to be fighting right there. You know, that's the person that you're always going to be fighting against every single day. And that's so true, because, you know, you are fighting yourself to, like, you know, you want to better yourself, but you need to get there. And in order to do that, you have to go through a battle first. And that's a battle within yourself in order to be able to be successful in what you want to do.
Correct. You have to figure out why you are the way you are, and what could potentially be there could be stopping you from getting what you want.
And that's the truth. And I love that. So here's a question. As a matchmaker and everything, how does that affect your personal romance? I'm curious about that, because it's like we always look at psychologists, therapists, and everything like that, but they're humans too. They have emotions too, and they have a personal life too. And I don't mean to get too personal. I'm just wondering.
A coach does need a coach.
Exactly. It's so funny, because I have a friend of mine that's a therapist, and she says, well, I mean, even us therapists, we need therapy too. You know, we need advice as well from an outside source. So how do you deal with that?
Well, luckily for me, I'm a little bit OCD. So
aren't most therapists?
No, I don't think so. I don't think all therapists are OCD. But I'm a little bit OCD, so which brings me to be like super analytical. And when I'm analytical, I break things down to like the nitty gritty. And it's a process of elimination, and then all I need after that is reaffirmation And I usually call, like that game, my lifeline. I call my best friend, who's been there for me for over 20 years, almost 25 years. We've never even had an argument. And she's my best friend. So I can figure things out really well. No, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm really, really good at it. And hence why, I decided to actually do this for a living, because I was doing it for everybody anyway. So I might as well.
Sounds like me.
So all I need is just some affirmation that, my thought process is correct and that I'm on the right path. And I also watch my decisions as well. And for anybody that's listening, one good way to know if you've made the right decision or not is, even if you don't understand it, is there's a certain amount of events that happen after you make a certain decision that kind of goes out into the universe. And if you've made a decision, and if it's the wrong decision, you will experience some things happening that are probably not to your liking. Some things are not going to fall into place. And as soon as you make the right decision, you also see how fast everything else falls into place.
I like that. That's great advice. And on that note, I want to go ahead and give you an opportunity to have people stalk you, follow you. Where can they go ahead and find you on social media?
Everything is under my umbrella. So Aviva Reimer on social media across the board, on Facebook and on Instagram. If you just type in my name, Aviva Reimer, you will find me. I also have my, perfect-fit.ca. That's my introduction lifestyle firm. If you're looking to join our database and potentially meet somebody that you could really appreciate and fall in love with, that is real, that doesn't want to play games and also is serious about relationships. And I also have avivareimer.com, where you can go and buy the book. I mean, my book is everywhere, but you can buy my book if you like. I can autograph it for you if you send me a message by email, and you can also purchase it there.
Awesome, Aviva. And not only that, I mean, I'd like to have you on the show again, but next time that I have you on the show, I'd love to talk to you about fitness, because I know that you're also deeply into fitness, and everybody knows the entertainment industry is all about fitness. So I'd love to have you back on the show for something like that too.
Yes. You see, fitness is the medicine of the future, and it's a huge component of what I do in transformation. And it doesn't necessarily always have to do with the physical, body and what it's going to do for it. It's got everything to do with your mental state of mind. So that's why that component is really, really huge in everything that I do. It's always a part of everything I do. And also
fitness offers a lot of endorphins too that make you feel very good about yourself.
Oh, absolutely. There's on so many levels, which I could, explain when we talk about that subject.
Oh, we will go ahead and talk about that subject very soon. Aviva Reimer, thank you so much for being on the Xander Effect, and we will talk very soon.
Thank you for having me.
All right, take care. Thank you so much, Aviva Reimer, for being on the Xander Effect. Hopefully, we'll have you again on the show very soon. In sports, Barry Bonds goes on The Athletic and tells Andrew Baggerly how the MLB gave him a death sentence and that his heart is broken. Basically, he's talking about how he hasn't been inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame. And he keeps on getting closer and closer, even though Barry Bonds is one of the best players in the MLB. He still holds many records in Major League Baseball, and he was a 14-time All-Star, 18-time Gold Glove winner, and 7-time MVP. And he holds the record with 762 home runs. Now, here's the thing. During this time, he was investigated for performance-enhancing, drugs, and they investigated him. And during that investigation, he actually admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs. So, at the end of the day, I look at it this way: this, although you were good, was it the fact of the matter that you were good because you were using performance-enhancing drugs, or was it because it was your own skill? This is the problem here, is that he is pretty much upset because he's not inducted in the Hall of Fame. Now, people may argue that there have been other athletes that have been inducted that later on revealed that they were using performance-enhancing drugs. It's still no excuse to go ahead and allow them that kind of honor. That honor that is being bestowed upon a person that has earned that honor legitimately, not somebody that used performance-enhancing drugs to go ahead and quote, legitimize their career. No. Being in the Hall of Fame being in any Hall of Fame for that matter, is something that needs to be prestigious. It needs to like come from people that actually earned their way there through hard work and dedication. Barry Bonds, although he was an incredible athlete, because of the performance-enhancing drugs, not because of his own doing. Or maybe he was at first, but maybe he needed a little boost later on. We'll never know. But the issue here remains is how upset he is that he's not in there. And he even goes on, by saying basically, if you want me, tell me. If not, I'll just walk away type of thing. But, he keeps getting voted in and he never gets in there. He's always 75%, shy of actually reaching the Hall of Fame. So who knows what's going to happen? But, then again, if the MLB is letting the Houston Astros get away with cheating, I'm sure that they could go ahead and make an exception for Barry Bonds, also cheating. And hell, while we're at it, why don't we go ahead and induct Pete Rose? He cheated as well, and yet, nobody's, they still keep him out of, the Hall of Fame and out of the records. So Major League Baseball, you need to get your priorities straight. Either you punish cheaters or you don't, but you can't have it both ways. You can't pick and choose. You can't do that. In other sports news, Brian Ortega slaps Chan Sung-jung, the Korean Zombie's friend Jay Park, on the arena floor during UFC 248. Now, this incident right here happened when Joanna was doing her walkout, and the confrontation happened while Jung was in the bathroom. Looks like Ortega confronted Jay Park and smacked him across the face, because of trash talk that Park was doing against Ortega last month. And Ortega actually warned him. Yeah, he actually went on social media and warned him that he was going to go ahead and do him the next time. He was going to slap him the next time he saw it. And his response basically to this whole thing was, welcome to the sport of welcome to the fight game. He wrote that actually, and he said, Jay Park, welcome to the fight game. Don't be surprised if I slap the out of you when I see you. That's what Ortega said, and he did. He followed through with it, and that's what happened. But here's the issue with that. Jay Park, like many other UFC fans, will have an opinion. They will always have something to say over a fighter. They will go ahead and criticize a fighter. What exactly is Ortega gonna do? Fight every single fan that's against him, that doesn't like him? Ortega, you are a professional fighter. You are trained. Not everybody is trained like you, okay? What you did was a bully move to somebody. You need to compose yourself, keep your cool, and ignore the trash that people talk. It's gonna happen more than often, and now with this, it's gonna be even worse. You have now become, a fighter that people don't like because you're a bully. You go ahead and you can't take criticism or trash talk from somebody, then don't get into the sport. If you can't go ahead and deal with something like that. You hit a civilian. You smack somebody that is not a fighter, that is not trained to fight, I'm assuming. And you did that. That's not right what you did. And I sure as hell hope, obviously Dana White, he sees this as a perfect kind of jump off point because Jung and Ortega are set to face each other. This might actually fuel the fight even more, which it has. Jung is actually very seemingly upset, and according to Dana White says that they didn't want any of this to escalate during the post press conference, but unfortunately, it will escalate because charges have been filed, according to Jung's manager. So, yeah, this thing's going to get pretty bad for Ortega, because that is assault. That actually is assault. So we'll see what happens later on. In other sports news, the NBA has announced, pretty much telling the NBA that it seems that they're going to have to be prepared for many games to be played without fans in the stands due to the coronavirus outbreak. NBA executives and owners in the league, they've all pretty much have come to the realization that could be a real possibility right now. There's so many events that are being canceled. South by Southwest has been canceled, and that's insane. And a lot of other sporting events in affected areas. Italy has officially announced that they are on complete and utter lockdown, not allowing anybody to come into the country to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. And there's just, Israel officials have also made it so that, they've made it mandatory, a 14-day quarantine mandatory, self-quarantine mandatory to anybody that travels into Israel from these affected areas. So this is affecting the entire world. Obviously, the coronavirus is a very serious matter. Many people have taken light to it, and they shouldn't, because at the end of the day, yes, it is the common cold, but the problem with this is that the common cold doesn't necessarily kill and doesn't necessarily affect you as quickly and doesn't spread as quickly. And this one has been spreading like wildfire. So it's a very difficult situation right now. Like I said, many events have been canceled. The Olympic torch event that usually there's a bunch of crowds that gather around in Greece to witness the lighting of the torch. That actually, the Olympic Committee has announced that no crowds will be allowed. No, there won't be an audience. No one will be allowed to witness the lighting of the torch for the beginning of the Olympics. So that's again, these are all things that are affecting the world, and it's getting pretty serious. So now the NBA may be looking at, at stands without fans in it. Hopefully authorities and hopefully World Health Organization and the CDC will find a way to minimize the spread of this virus. But it's really tough, and who knows what's going to happen. But here's hoping that things get better. Up next in video game news, Call of Duty Warzone Battle Royale is free to play and dropping tomorrow. Stay tuned for more details on that. Up next, though, we got Qwes Kross. She got it right here on the Xander Effect.
What do we do? What do we do? And life is fine. I know that I'm with you. I don't mind. Yeah. What we gonna do? I'm with you. It could be so true. Tell me where we going. Life is full of games, but we all the same. Let's just stop this train. Let me do my thing. I see you, and I see your crew, but I like you. Yeah. What you wanna do? I don't wanna play. Why you wanna play? What you she said. I don't wanna play. You can play around, call another girl. Maybe she died. What you wanna do? I don't wanna play. Why you wanna play? Yeah. What you she said. I don't wanna play. You can play around, call another girl. Maybe time. We haven't been the same. What do you do? Please just come my way. Ooh. Call my stylist. Running up a tab with a pilot. Blowing out the back with my Qwes. Living out my life cause I live this. Push the start button and reminisce. Never look back, you say trending. Solving out the problem, let's calculate. Do the work for me, let's keep it straight. What you gonna do? I don't wanna play. Why you wanna play? What you gonna say? what you wanna do, what you wanna say. I don't wanna play, you can play around, call it up your girls, baby, shake it down. What you wanna do, I don't wanna play, why you wanna play, what you wanna say. I don't wanna play, you can play around, call it up your girls, baby, shake it down. What you wanna do, I don't wanna play, why you wanna play, what you wanna say. I don't wanna play, you can play around, call it up your girls, baby, shake it down. What you wanna do, I don't wanna play, why you wanna play. I don't wanna play, why you play around. Call it up your girls, baby, shake it down. What you wanna do, I don't wanna play. What you wanna do, I don't wanna play. Why you wanna play? What you should say. I don't wanna play. You can play around. Call it up your girls, baby, shake it down. What you wanna do, I don't wanna play. Why you wanna play? What you gonna say? I don't wanna play. You can play around. Call it up your girls, baby, shake it down. What you wanna do, I do we do. What you wanna say? What you wanna say? I don't wanna play. How do we round? What do we say? Baby, knock it down. Yeah. What you wanna do? Like who? Like what? Like what?
That was Qwes Kross. She got it right here on the Xander Effect. In video game news, man, am I excited. So excited. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone comes out tomorrow. And man, the trailer for this new mode is bananas. It's basically LL Cool J. It's LL Cool J's remix of Mama Said Knock You Out. And man, is it so appropriate for this trailer. Let me tell you. Call of Duty's official Twitter came out and confirmed it, that the Battle Royale is dropping tomorrow, March 10th, for current Modern Warfare owners. The add-on is about... The add-on comes out at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and the size is 15 and 22 gigabytes. So it's going to be a pretty hefty size, but it's even heftier for those that aren't Modern Warfare owners. They can still go ahead and buy it. It'll be available to them at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. That one's going to be 80 to 100 gigabytes because they have to go ahead and, download the entire game. But man, this game is crazy. They got two modes for this game. And one of them is, of course, your typical, Warzone, that it drops, 150 players into an environment, kind of like what they had in the last Call of Duty, similar to PUBG and Fortnite and everything. Only instead of a circle closing like they had last year in in Call of Duty, they have gas, a gas that keeps on and closing in on people. So that's pretty much like it's a team versus team, 150 players, all with squads and everything. So that's that one. It's a huge map too. The other one is a pretty crazy mode, which is similar to Battlefield Hardline. I don't know if anybody's ever played Battlefield Hardline, but there is a squad versus squad mode where basically in Hardline you have to steal money from some sort of a cage or whatever and take it back to your side of the map and deposit it. And then of course they come in. Enemies can kill people that are carrying the bags and then grab the bag, take it back to their side, and they can even go go ahead and invade your side of the map and start stealing from your vault as well. They're bringing a similar version of that to this new update, so that should be really interesting to see. But man, in the video they show so many crazy things, helicopter battles. There's even a dog involved, so I'm assuming that they might actually include the German Shepherds like they used to in all the other Call of Duties and stuff. So that's gonna be pretty cool. Man, I'm excited. That drops tomorrow, March 10th. Make sure you watch out for that one. you know for darn sure I'm gonna be watching out for that one. That's it for the Xander Effect. That's the news in case you haven't heard it. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to listen out next time as I have special guest Twism Whitepiece on the show, plus more entertainment, sports, and video games for all of you. See you guys next time.
Live it up. B. Taylor. Flow Rider. Live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. You got the right to live. So go and live it. Live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. Let's start the party. Let's start the party. Live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. You got the right to live. So go and live it. Live it up. Live like it's the night of your life. Let's start the party. Let's start the party. Live it up.
I'm dangerous like tightrope. No talking, not that of a maestro. More like that lizard from Geico. When
The Xander Effect is powered by 50/50 Global Music Inc., BMG, and Sony Music The Orchard, in association with Art 19 Media.